Hello everyone, welcome to the channel update for June. Hope everyone's May went well, although it does sound like it was hot for a lot of people and very, very rainy in the Midwest, which has really screwed up their planting season, as I hear. Anyway, on to the channel stuff. The first thing to talk about is that monthly multiplayer will be taking place on the 15th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, GMT-4. We will be playing Stellaris with the Ancient Relics expansion, because that's coming out in just a couple days. You do not need to have the DLC in order to join the monthly multiplayer. I, as host, will be sharing that out with everyone, essentially. So please don't let that stop you, and it's a good way to test out the new features, find out if you like it, find out if it's worth buying. So keep that in mind. We will be handling the scheduling and, the room code and everything like that through Discord. Links will be in the description below, of course. And here on the front page of the channel, you can get to my Discord link there. Beyond that, I'm not planning on starting a Let's Play of that, at least not yet. I've got a current campaign with Mysterious JG and Zerfall, so I don't want to double up on Stellaris at the moment. Maybe when that finishes, when that wraps up, we'll consider it, but for now, I'm just going to go with that. I will be streaming Ancient Relics on Monday, tomorrow, so please do stop by and check that out. It will be at my normal streaming time, 4 p.m. I just wrapped up Crystalis last week, so, no real reason to not do this since I got the code from Paradox. Thank you, Paradox. Very much appreciate it. Other than that, on the channel, I've got a lot of the usual stuff going on. Tales of Vesperia still going on. Still working on the Crusader Kings 2 Great Works campaign. Having a lot of fun with that, although the Abbasids have gotten enormous, and it is slightly disconcerting and problematic. But do keep an eye on that, keep watching that. I do appreciate all the support that's getting. Most of last month, we had Kathy Rain going on, which was a lot of fun, and I got some good feedback. And we've moved on to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which is my very first LucasArts point-and-click adventure game. I've never played one of them before. I've watched some other people, some other people's Let's Plays and stuff like that, but I've never actually played one of them myself. I didn't know anyone who had them, and I didn't own any of them myself. I mostly bought Sierra games, and most of my friends bought Sierra games. So, just wasn't really on the radar. We were aware of many of them, but, seeing ads and stuff like that, but I don't know, just didn't buy them. Don't know why. It might have been more of a case of there were so many Sierra games, and we liked them so much that there wasn't room in the budget, so to speak, for most of us. I don't know. Started a new Imperator Rome campaign, Greater Iberia, so I'm having fun with that. Do check that out. It's been going pretty well. Imperator Rome has not had the release that Paradox had hoped in a lot of ways. Well, in more than a lot of ways, really. It got some pretty negative feedback. Some of it fair, a lot of it unfair, I think, in my opinion. But I think it suffered from too high expectations. And I've seen that happen a lot on the internet, where people basically, think that something is going to be the, end-all, be-all, the Holy Grail kind of thing, and it can't live up to that. So many things just can't live up to that. And I think Imperator Rome had a bit of that going on. Basically, I think it boils down to people expecting the depth of EU4 and Crusader Kings 2 around now, when they've had years and years of additional work, additional support, additional expansions, that have really made the game so much deeper than when it came out. Try going back and playing Crusader Kings 2, the original release, and you'll just be like, wow, there's like nothing to do, so few events and stuff like that. So, and they've said that Imperator Rome has more of like I think it has more events than any of the other games that they've published at release or something like that. Like half the events that EU4 or Crusader Kings 2 have right now or something like that. So there's a lot of stuff in the game. It's just it needs another year or two of additional support to really come into its own. Um, and that's kind of where it is. It's still a fun game, but it's not EU4 Crusader Kings 2 level, and I think people were expecting that. On top of that, there's a group of people who just absolutely despise the Monarch Point type system. Call it mana, whatever. The abstract, non-concrete resources that you gather to improve, the state of your your position in the game, kind of thing. But the only real difference between like the Monarch points and the gold and manpower and things like that in the game is that one is an abstract of a non-concrete thing, and the other is an abstract of a concrete thing. Otherwise, they're basically the same thing. Like, there's no point in the game does it say that, 1 gold is worth a pound of gold. That's 1 pound of gold. That's 1 ounce of gold or something like that. And considering that at the time, a lot of these countries were actually on essentially a silver standard as opposed to a gold standard. So it's entirely abstract. It's just called gold, and gold is a concrete concept. Whereas the oratory power and, the monarch points, all of those are non-concrete concepts. And that's really the only difference between them. But the idea that each one of these, cities, quote unquote, the counties in the game, have a marketplace or something like that, or just like everything is an abstraction in the game. It's like Dungeons and Dragons and hit points. They're all abstractions. So to get, to say like a game is ruined by the inclusion, or a game is terrible by it because of its inclusion, or the inclusion of these concepts, these mechanics, is a terrible thing for a strategy game, I think is hyperbole, and it's pretty off the charts hyperbole. If you don't like those things, I'm sure there are other strategy games you can play that don't have those. And it's possible to advocate for not having them without, falling into hyperbole. But I mean, I didn't even know that those things were called mana until the game came out, and I saw all these videos popping up in my suggestions of the game is terrible because of mana. Mana makes for bad strategy games, and then posts on the forums and stuff like that. Whatever. So anyway, I mean, I think the game is fine for what we should have expected, and fine compared to what we get out of it, and what where the other Paradox titles have been. If it's not as deep as people want, wait a year or two, and it'll probably come into its own, I think. So that's really my position on Imperator Rome. Whether it will fit into the overall roster of things that I regularly play, I don't know yet. Partly because it hasn't gotten as good reception on my channel as like Crusader Kings 2 and Stellaris does. And I don't know exactly why that is. I don't know if that's an element of the game itself, or my gameplay, or what. But like I started the new Imperator Rome campaign, the Greater Iberia, and most of the first videos had no comments. So I was kind of surprised at that, especially considering the generally good reception that Crusader Kings 2 and Stellaris gets when I post them on the channel. So, I don't know. I'll be evaluating that. Feel free to, share your thoughts in the comments of this video, on Discord, stuff like that. I am curious to know, I want to know what people think of the Let's Plays. I don't care what people think of the game, per se. Obviously, if you're not interested in watching the Let's Play because you don't like the game, you can say that, but the feedback that I need is what you think of my Let's Plays, not the game itself. So if, for the people who watch my Crusader Kings 2 regularly, if you're not watching the Imperator Rome, I would like to know why. Is it because of the game itself? Is it because there's a difference in my gameplay, my commentary? Share some feedback. I need to know if I need to change something up or if it's really just the game itself that is making it not that popular on the channel. So, but for now, I'm going to play through that, and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's a lot of the stuff there. I have started posting the completed Thea the Awakening stream videos. They're all done. They're all scheduled. You can see 64 videos, so it's going to be going on for the next 2 months. That's, to a certain extent, just bonus content. I was debating whether to actually upload it or not, because I really not that long ago finished another Thea the Awakening campaign. But it was a lot of fun, and I ended up, just marathoning editing the videos, so I got that taken care of. And the Spelljammer campaign has started a new adventure. The party wrapped up their previous adventure, and they're now moving on to some new stuff. Bit more of a mystery than a lengthy exploratory situation. I did end up renaming the last two of the previous adventure because I felt that breakpoint worked a little bit better than what happened last week. And then tomorrow on Monday, I will get the videos for this current weekend's session posted. So look forward to that. And there are 2 new players who will be joining us next week. One of our players had to drop out, and it ended up being that there were only 2 people who could make the time. And I kind of didn't want to decide between just 2 people, so it actually would have been easier to pick one person if we had like 4 or 5 who could all swing it and stuff like that, because I wouldn't feel as bad about everyone else not making it. So, but when it was like 2 people who could actually make the time, and it's like, oh, how do I choose between just 2 people? So I basically decided, why choose? Let's just have them both in. So, please do come by and check out the stream next Saturday and greet the new players. Other than that, I have updated all of the categories. If there's anything missing from any of these categories, please do let me know on Discord or something like that, or perhaps in like a video update or something like that. If you feel that a particular game should be in a grouping and it's not, that would be helpful. Other than that, that's pretty much the channel. Trying to think if there's anything else that I was going to mention. Yeah, actually there is. We are closing in on a new Patreon selection. I'm going to hold that middle of the month, later in the month. Solicit ideas from patrons, and then get the initial winnowing down to 5 choices done, and then I can put the poll up here on YouTube for the 5 finalists, and then I can announce it in the next update, so July. So look forward to, even if you're not a patron, look forward to having some input at that point, some direct input. But speaking of Patreon, we're doing well. We're still over the $400 level, although we did drop down a bit. financial situations change, obviously. I totally understand that. But that is also why it's so important for, more people to support the channel, especially or even at the $1 level. It really, really helps. $1's a lot easier to swing, and, when financial situations change, it's a lot easier to justify keeping a $1 support level going compared to, substantially more. So I appreciate everything that everyone does to support the channel. I don't want to come across as having anything negative to say about people who can't support higher amounts or have to drop their support or anything like that. Totally understand those things, but I do really want to encourage, those who are not currently supporting the channel to seriously consider it. It really is important to keep the channel going. I am really running on shoestring budgets here on getting this, and the more support I get, the more comfortable I am, and the less financial stress I am operating under. So that's what I want people to think about. And with all the subscribers I have, especially new subscribers coming in with Imperator Rome and the recent expansions for Crusader Kings 2 and stuff like that, please consider supporting at the $1 level. I have daily videos that are free to view. Just support the channel and give something, give a little bit back to all of the content that I produce. It does really mean a lot to me. I got the names scrolling by on the bottom of the current supporters. I thank every single one of you. It means so much. And if people have suggestions for things I can do to further reward patrons, I'm always open to that. I have been meaning to revise the tiers a bit, try to come up with some better stuff, more interesting rewards and stuff like that. I just haven't really been able to think of how I want to do that, so it's kind of stayed where it is. We do have some more goals. Currently, if we can get up to the next goal, I will add another daily video, so that's just more stuff that I would be producing, and that daily video would be a new series, always selected by by patrons. So anytime something is close to being done, or maybe I'd take the top 2 suggestions or something like that, I would do a new poll, and supporters can choose what is played. That would essentially replace the once per year that I've been doing now of a poll. But, that would be constant. So, if you want to see even more stuff from me, push for getting to the higher amount. So, but I do thank everyone who has been supporting me. It does mean a lot, and I thank you all, no matter how much you can do. It doesn't matter if it's $1 or $1 or $100 or $1,000. You doing what you can do means so much to me. It really does, and I really do thank you all. The only other thing to talk about at this point is over on my blog, I do have a new deity, and this is another of the centaur deities that was in Dragon Magazine 102, I think. Just basically a name and a single portfolio that they represented, and I've expanded that out to a full deity entry. So if you're looking to expand out some centaur culture in your homebrew Dungeons and Dragons world, check out Brilros the Battle Stallion. See if he would fit into what you're looking at, and the other centaur deities. So yeah, that's basically it for the channel at this time. Hope everyone's June ends up going well. Hope you all survive the heat that is certainly coming. And hope the Midwest and the United States gets a reprieve from all the flooding and stuff like that. I hear it's really causing some serious problems for the growing season. And for those of you in the southern hemisphere, have a good winter, which is starting soon. I envy you. Anyway, thank you guys for continuing to support. Keep leaving comments, liking the videos, sharing them if you know people who would be interested. I really do appreciate that, and do stop by the Discord just to chat and see what other people are talking about. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next Let's Play.